Hello, Math 20-3 students. We're going to begin our new unit on right triangles and trigonometry. So our first lesson is going to do a little reviewing on some of the things that you have studied before in past math courses. So the first thing, since we're going to be using our calculators quite a bit, we need to make sure that our calculators are in degree mode. Okay, so that's this note up here. Make sure your calculators are in degree mode. The other thing to remember about triangles is that all three angles in a triangle, always equal 180 degrees. And so if we're talking about right triangle, okay, a right triangle where one angle is 90, then the other two angles here and here will also add up to 90 degrees. So that's an easy way to figure out. If you know this angle here, subtract it from 90 and you'll end up with this angle here. Okay? So I'm going to just erase that little piece there. And move on to the next piece, which is the Pythagorean theorem. So remember, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We've worked with that theorem already this year. And the last thing that we're going to remember is when we're using trig functions, there's three of them. We've got the sine, the cosine, and the tangent. We've worked with tangent already this year when we were talking about slope. If you recall, the tangent of an angle is also its slope. And so if you remember SOHCAHTOA, sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. So that's the first one. Second one is cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And the third one, tangent, is opposite over adjacent. So you can use any of those three depending on what the question is asking. And if you know two values, you can always solve for the third value. So let's try an example together. Example 1, how tall is the cliff? So the cliff is the unknown. Its height is what we're looking for. And we've got two pieces of information that are known. The distance from the person to the cliff is 500 feet. And the angle of elevation, this angle right here from the ground as the person is looking up to the top of the cliff, is 30 degrees. So when you're deciding which of the three trig functions to use to help you solve for an unknown, you look at the three pieces of information, the two that you know and the one that you're looking for. So you always have to reference from the angle that you're looking at. In this case, it's this angle down here. So from 30 degrees, we look straight across because that's the one that we need. That's the opposite side. And the one right beside the angle is the adjacent side. So in this case, we have an angle and we're looking for the opposite side and we know the adjacent. So you look at your trig ratios, whichever one includes opposite and adjacent, that's the one you use. And in this case, it is the tangent. So tangent of 30 degrees equals, opposite is h, and the adjacent is 500. So we're going to have to find the tangent of 30 degrees. So on your calculator, you're going to punch in 10 and then 30 or 30 and 10, depending on your calculator. And the tangent of 30 degrees is 0.577. And we're going to multiply that by 500. And that's going to give us h. Whenever the unknown is on the top or in the numerator, you multiply. And when you do 0.577 times 500, you get 288.7 feet is equal to h. So the cliff is 288.7 feet high. Let's try one more. In the let's practice, it says you choose, solve for the unknown side in one of the following triangles. Well, I'll do option 1 and you can do option 2 on your phone. So again, from the angle that we're given, 58 degrees, we are trying to find the opposite side, and we are given the adjacent side. So this is another tangent question. So tangent of 58 degrees equals opposite B over adjacent 5.3. Now again, because the unknown is in the numerator or on the top, this is a multiplication question. So the tangent of 58 is 1.6, and we'll multiply by the 5.3, and that's going to give us 8.5. So B equals 8.5 in this case, meters. Okay, you try option 2. Okay, let's do this first let's practice question. A ladder is placed against a wall, forming an angle of 63 degrees. If the foot of the ladder is 3.7 feet away from the wall, how long is the ladder? Okay, so let's draw ourselves a picture. That's often a great way to visualize what's going on in the question. So I'll draw the house wall. Okay, here's the ground. And the ladder goes between the house and the ground. And it says that it forms a 63-degree angle. So right here, it's 3 degrees. And it's 3.7 feet away from the house. And it's asking how long is the ladder. So that'll be this line here. That's the ladder. We'll call that X. And so now we have to pick one of the 3 trig ratios that includes the known value, which is 3.7, in relation to the 63-degree angle here. And so that's the adjacent side, and we're looking for the hypotenuse, or longest side. This is a right triangle, and so that's going to be the cosine function. Cosine of 63 equals 3.7 over x. Now notice the unknown is in the denominator, in which case we have to change these two around so that the x is isolated. And we get 3.7 over cos 63. So this is a division question. Whenever the variable's in the denominator, it ends up being a division question. Now the cosine of 63 is 0.45. And in the numerator, we have 3.7. When you do that division, you get 8.1. So the ladder is 8.1 feet. Okay, there's some more questions that you can try at the rest of this page. Give those a shot, and I'll post the answers on our Google Classroom.